I avoid responsibility. That way nobody feels compelled to put me in a position of power.
We must have a high tolerance for chaos. Learn to embrace the flow.
Forgive all that we can't forget. Regret nothing we can't let go. For despite what we have learned, infinitely more we do not know.
So let us tune our frequencies
until new vibrations grow. Let's pretend that it never ends.
And now, it's time to start the show.
My guest tonight is not an award-winning author, porn star, and stand-up comic. Instead, we have some guy who wrote a book about that guy. Please welcome Dr. Bobby Black. Thank you for coming on, Professor. Excuse me, Dr. Black. You've written a book.
Yes?
I don't know what to make of this. I mean, this guy's story reads like a fairy tale for the insane.
Ha! That's good. I wish I'd thought of that.
Okay, so the book is called Suck My Brain, The Life and Lies of Pepe Hopkins. Would you like to tell our readers the origin of this title?
Well, you know that part that hangs under the penis? Oh, sorry. Can I say penis?
Yes, you can say penis. I say it all the time.
Okay, but I'm talking about what's underneath. Can I say scrotum?
I'm being told that yes, you can also say scrotum.
It is the scientific term, after all.
Let's just call it a scrode.
Okay, so Pepe always called his
Scrode.
He called it the brain. At his high school graduation, he walked around flashing people and screaming, "The brain!" The police were called. He was taken away and cavity searched for narcotics, which they found.
And you've written a book about him because... No, I kid. It's really a fascinating story. I mean, this guy is raised as a Mormon, nearly kills himself doing the California club scene, and then has himself ordained as a Buddhist priest in Amsterdam. At this point, he's still only 12 years old.
I see you read this book very carefully.
I did indeed. And while reading it, I kept asking myself, why do I still care about this guy? Yet I couldn't put it down. How do Mormons have a boy and decide to name him Pepe? You would think Jacob or Jebediah, but Pepe?
First of all, Pepe is his middle name. His real first name is Jared. His great-great-great-grandfather was a pirate named Clutchy Hopkins.
Oh, let me tell you, that pirate chapter was some crazy shit. But tell us more about the life of Pepe Hopkins himself. Pick up where I left off.
Well, after his parents divorced, he moved to southern Jersey with his mother. This was during his sophomore year of high school. Once there, he reinvented himself. Everything he said, the way he dressed, all of it was an attempt to stick out and separate himself from his peers. I mean, he was light years ahead of the other students socially.
How so?
Well, he didn't stick to just one niche, see? He sought out like-minded souls in all the cliques. He was actually a very lonely person, for you see, he had no one else to compare himself to. Quite frankly, it was boring.
But in a couple of years, he becomes a full-fledged writer.
That's right. He befriended someone named Marcus Aurelius, a fellow writer and self-imposed outcast. The two wrote furiously during this period, and we have a record of it in the Coffee House Journals, a collection of some of Pepe Hopkins' earliest poems.
Yeah, he was like a beat poet of the post-ridiculous era.
Ha! That's a good way of looking at it.
Okay, so here's what I don't get. How does a poet become a porn star?
Not easily, I'm afraid, which is why I'm still a professor. But seriously, the whole porn thing was just a gag. This is one of the original business cards that Pepe printed and passed out to women on the boardwalk.
Seriously? He passed out business cards that said porn star and girls fell for it? Damn, why didn't I think of that?
And it worked! The legend grew and grew, yet you will not find one pornographic film with Pepe Hopkins in it, and believe me, people have tried.
Are you one of those people, Doctor? Okay, so he's not a porn star.
No, he's not a porn star. He later became a licensed magician and mentalist. He traveled the country doing shows, but then ended up getting fired one night. A drunk woman heckled him, and he said he was going to make her disappear by sticking his magic shotgun in her mouth.
Is he still a Buddhist priest at this point, or...
So then, he becomes a bartender, and then he becomes a bartending magician.
Right, this is when he's telling offensive jokes while pulling rabbits out of whiskey bottles and magically making the women switch underwear with each other, underneath their clothes.
As I said, you read this book very carefully.
Yes, I, shall we say, highlighted the swapping sweaty panties part.
So, he's settled in Florida at this point, and it's there that he thrives. He becomes a legend in the Orlando bar scene.
Isn't that an oxymoron? I mean, that's why he moved to China, right?
No, he moved to Shanghai because of a breakup with the girl he was going to marry. Oh, we haven't even gotten into his love life yet.
Except for the panties.
And the porn.
Yes, and your secret stash of Pepe Hopkins porn flicks. Well, we're almost out of time, but we haven't even talked about his stand-up, which is what he's generally known for.
Yes, he infused his comedy with a living autobiography, and yet most of it is lies, or rather, gross exaggeration.
Well, it's truth disguised as lies.
True.
I love how you described him in the book as a compassionate con artist, and the last chapter is the most captivating. You cover his mysterious disappearance and the ensuing custody scandal down to the last detail.
Yes, some say Pepe Hopkins is dead. Others say that he uses disguises and still haunts random open mics across the world. His powers of persuasion are so great that he can hypnotize a whole audience, perform magic for them, and make them forget who it was they just saw.
A comedian magician. How original. You met Pepe Hopkins once, is that correct?
Yes, it was right before he disappeared. He found out I was writing his biography and requested a face-to-face meeting. I didn't know if he was going to help me or threaten my life if I continued.
What happened?
I was sent by submarine to one of his island estates. I never knew which one. We sat in a large room made entirely of mirrors. It was a very disconcerting experience. The ceiling, floor, walls, even furniture, everything reflected everything else. I ran down the basic outline, told him the stories I wanted to focus on. He listened carefully to every detail. When I finished, there was a long, tense pause, and all he said was, "My life is a lie."
Mine too.
Mine 3.
One last question. You seem to be the authority on this guy, so the tattoo on his forearm, what does it mean?
Om Mani Padme Hum. It's a powerful Hindu mantra to ward off danger.
Well, sounds like he needed it. Anyone who can convince their substitute teacher to give them a blowjob is just asking for trouble.
Indeed.
Doctor, thank you for coming on.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
It's a compelling book and a fascinating look at the man who was, and maybe still is, Pepe Hopkins. Welcome to the Opus Marcus podcast. I am your host, Marcus Aurelius. You are the audience, keeping it real, I hope. And now, it's time to sort out the truth from the lies. Please join me in welcoming Pepe Hopkins. So, Pepe,
Yes, sir.
what's up?
Hard dicks and airplanes, baby.
I can't believe that you're actually sitting right in front of me, to be honest.
It's just good to be here.
Good to see you. You in good health there?
After this weekend, oh my god.
Well,
Surviving is all I can say I'm doing. I'm surviving.
what brings you up to Jersey after so many years?
A wedding. You know, this Bobby's wedding. And, yeah, it's not very many things will get me back up to New Jersey.
So how was this wedding? How was the wedding ceremony itself?
You'll have to ask somebody else about
Oh,
that.
really? Yeah, so I just picked
According-
Pepe up from the airport, and I asked him how the wedding was, and he said I couldn't tell you because he slept through it.
I did. I was in my hotel, asleep soundly, thinking that I had plenty of time, that I was going to make it to the wedding. I thought the wedding was, we'd caught a shuttle to the wedding. It turns out the shuttle was going to the reception, and as soon as I got off the bus, I realized that I had missed the wedding, all of it. But it's probably better that I didn't go into a church.
Why? What's wrong with you in the church?
Could have been bad, Building could have fallen down or something.
I guess we should throw this fact out. You were once ordained as a Buddhist priest in Amsterdam?
Mormon priest. I was ordained a Mormon priest.
You were ordained a Mormon priest?
Yes. When I was 16 years old. When I went to Amsterdam, I didn't get converted. There was not priesthood, but that's where I was in a Buddhist temple in Amsterdam where I talked to one of the monks there, and he sort of got me in the right direction.
Oh, wow.
That was when I was already studying Buddhism, and then he sort of really got me focused onto it when I came back and told my dad I wanted to be Buddhist and not be Mormon anymore. Kicked me out of the house, and I ended up in New Jersey.
And the rest is history. So you were born and raised in California?
Born in Florida.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I've moved almost 30, probably over 30 times now.
30 times, Jesus, okay.
Yeah, so
I
lived in California once for 6 months when I was about 6 months old, and then I moved back to California when I was in the middle of 6th grade. Was there until summer in between sophomore, junior year high school.
Okay. And our history together begins high school.
High school?
Do you remember the first time? I remember the first time I met you, like, in person. Do you remember the first time you met me?
I think it was an after-school thing. I want to say it was in Miss Genevieve's classroom. I want to say it might have had something to do with Key Club. One of the first memories I have of you is doing some sort of like a Key Club. It was a chant like, "It feels good. Oh, it feels so good," or something like that.
I was really doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. Who was that guy?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, Miss
That guy
Genevieve's
was-
used to have the coffee houses.
Coffee house.
Right, of course. Those were awesome. That was like a poetry, music, talent show that we would have, every Friday or every month or something like that?
Yeah.
Well, okay, it could have been a Key Club, but my first memory of you is actually being at Phil's house. I was up in Phil's bedroom, and suddenly this Pepe Hopkins character that I had just seen and observed on the periphery, is like totally eccentric, going out of his way to be eccentric or different, suddenly is in Phil's room, and I'm like, oh God, here's this guy. But we didn't really talk much. Like, you were just there, and then I had to go. And then the next memory I have is you showing up at my house one day in your old hoopty for no reason whatsoever. We hadn't talked, we didn't know each other, or maybe we did talk briefly before that. But you just showed up.
And I had just bought. Well, I've been listening to an album that I just recently bought, and I was really into it. And I remember we hung out in your basement and smoked and listen to that album from, it was MC 900 Foot Jesus.
MC 900 Foot Jesus.
One Step Ahead of the Spider.
That was amazing. That was one of those, it was like the
all the way
early
through.
times where I was really, really high listening to that.
Yeah, it felt like it was 3 hours, but it was only like a 45-minute album.
And when you first walked in the house, you uttered the famous line, like, you looked around, like, are you Jewish?
I was like, you're Catholic? Like, yeah, why?
Yeah.
I was like, I just thought you were Jewish. Like, why?
I don't knows.
I didn't want to say why.
I don't knows why.
I guess I'm
Well, here's my
just,
question to you, though, and here's my question to you: what made you come? What made you come hang out with me that day, unannounced? Like, what was that about?
I was famous for that. Like, as you got to know me, I'm sure I was the king of just the pop in.
Right.
Like, and now as an adult, I realize how annoying that probably was to some people.
Well, no, I was just sort of trying to figure out like what.
Like, when I had a car, I would just drive around, and I would go to different friends' houses and just pop in. Just like, hey, what are you doing? Like, and if they weren't there, I would hang out with their parents, or
Yeah.
I would do the same thing at Lois's house. Just pop in.
Well, I have to say thanks for coming by because that was the beginning of a very long friendship.
Indeed.
Which we've been on hiatus for a while though. We haven't talked. We don't talk on the phone enough.
That's true.
I haven't been down to see you, but yeah, we're here now. We've done a lot of things together. We did. So we did the Miss Genevieve's coffee houses. We did spoken word poetry, where we had the poetry readings at Gimpetro Park. We did Raw Dog episode 1, the only episode.
The one and only.
The one and only.
Shout out to Joey Alvarado.
Yes, Joey Alvarado, definitely the best sport ever.
Yes.
Yeah, all the links to all that stuff will be in the comments section of this podcast. It feels so weird saying official things like that.
A young Pepe Hopkins with hair.
Pepe Hopkins with hair, that's right. You did have hair at one point.
I did.
That's true. So, we have a limited time together. I know I got to get you back to the airport. Where are you at right now? Like, let's just get right to it. Like, where's your head at? Where's your heart at? Are you happy with your life?
Right now, I am happy. I've been in my current job a little over 5 years. I really enjoy working in hospitality industry. I do kind of miss being behind a bar, but the next best thing is what I'm doing, serving. And I'm basically sort of my own manager as well, which is nice. My managers leave me alone. They know that I know what I'm doing, and so it's a great place to work. The restaurant makes $20 million a year.
Jeez.
So, and the money's good, and Central Florida is good. The weather is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
My motorcycle is awesome.
Yeah, motorcycle. It makes me nervous just thinking about it.
I know. It makes me nervous sometimes, too, but...
Do you remember Jay Weiss? Did you know him?
Yeah.
You knew Jay.
Yeah.
Sorry, not bring that up.
Or, no, I think about it every day.
I think about him all the time. Yeah, Jay Weiss was a mutual friend of ours. He lived down the street from me, and... he was awesome in many ways, very good with just his hands and technology. But long story short, God, it's all coming back to me now, though. It was my 25th birthday party, and he was out in, Utah or some shit. He had been gone for 4 years. 25th birthday party, he just shows up in the basement.
Really?
He's like, yeah, I'm back. I thought I'd stop in. And we walk around and we talk, and he's like, yeah, come over. I got this new bike I want to show you. Come over the next day, and he shows me the bike he got for him and his girlfriend. And he's like, I'm in love with this girl. She's the one, so-and-so. I swear to you, a week later,
Really?
the two of them were hit at Lincoln and Landis.
Right. Yeah, I remember Phil saying that he was a volunteer firefighter, like he had to come to the call.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, it's fucked up. That's really fucked up.
Yeah, I think about it often. My oldest nephew was killed on a motorcycle.
God rest his soul. Do you remember John? Scott?
That was my nephew. He was killed on a motorcycle.
Oh, jeez. I'm sorry to hear that.
That was about 4 years ago now.
Jeez. But I'm sorry.
Every time I think about it every time I ride. It's mostly you have to be careful of other people, and if you're get off your goddamn cell phones while you're driving, people.
Yeah, seriously. Seriously. I'm a little guilty of that, although I keep it so that I don't have to look at it too often. I don't do text messaging so much. And then, like, voice to text is good when you're driving.
Yeah, indeed. Or just put your fucking phone down.
That's true.
God damn,
That's true.
phones.
Seriously. What's more annoying, the phones or people not using their blinker?
Phones.
Phones?
Yeah, just because, like, you know they're distracted. It's just
Yeah.
like, man, you're driving a 2-ton vehicle. Like, use your brain.
So, do you do anything creative anymore? I mean, we're talking to the guy that writes poetry, stories, stand-up comedy, does magic. I mean, you do it all. Like, you're a fucking legend.
I've not written a whole lot since I moved from New Jersey, and I think I discovered why. Because I'm not nearly as depressed in Florida as I was in New Jersey.
Yes,
and
right.
depression was a great motivator for me to write.
Sure.
And so I haven't written any poetry or anything like that since I moved to Florida. I am getting back into art, though.
I've noticed that. Your stuff is awesome.
Thank you. I've always liked drawing, and getting back into it is just a fun little, like, no means doing it professionally or trying to make money off of it, but just enjoying, just to relax. And I seem to do my best drawings when I'm drunk for some reason.
Hey, go for it.
So,
have you seen the
hashtag drunk drawing on Instagram?
Have you seen the artist that
did all the drugs?
Did all the drugs and drew the different
self-portraits?
Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah,
that was awesome. Well, I guess going back to writing, I also haven't written a lot since the material for the second book that we never published.
Oh, really?
Because there was sort of a falling out with Noel and me and Doug. More Noel, a falling out, I guess you could call it. So there's like all this new material, which was written at the time before and right after my dad died.
Right.
And it is like the best material I've ever written.
Really?
I haven't done much since, but there was a point to this. I can't remember what it was. Oh, so at some point, I would hope that maybe I can write something that you could illustrate.
Oh, word.
We could just self-publish
Just some
it.
drawings?
Yeah.
Word. Yeah, I was pondering illustrating a children's book, writing and illustrating a children's book, but I really don't have an idea what.
Oh, well, that I have. I mean, I already have the first book.
I figure they're easy, 20 pages.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I have the first book written, and the idea, it was the beginning of a series. So the first one's mostly about two goats. In fact, it's all about two goats that escape from a pen. And one, thinks that the grass is greener on the other side of the road and wants to go, where it's better. And the other one says, no, we should stay here because we have everything we need here. Why would you want to go out into this risky unknown? So there's this conflict between the two.
Right.
And the one who is sort of brave steps out onto the road when it's getting too dark and, gets hit. And the one who stayed back, because they had this big argument and they went their separate ways. The one who stayed back, gets hit in the ass with like this sharp pain. And they wake up in the pen. And so the one who was like, I got to be free, like they're keeping us trapped in the pen, the one that took the step out on the road and got hit, he had a transformational spiritual experience. He saw bright lights and these strange people that healed him and brought him back to the pen, and he's now a believer. So the whole thing at the end is that like they just realized they should just stay where they are.
Right. Find contention in your current situation. Speaking of getting hit by a car, on our way here not 10 minutes ago, we just saw a squirrel get brutally murdered by a car.
R.I.P. squirrel. Yeah, that car in front of me.
Poor squirrel.
I thought he was going to make it too.
Yeah, usually they do, but he did not make it.
Can I ask a question? Is it just the squirrel's brain? Like, what the fuck is it with squirrels that they cannot evolutionarily get into their DNA? The whole crossing the goddamn road thing. You would think by now that would be hardwired in.
Yeah.
But it's not. They still don't know how to cross the road.
Right, and you have the ability to climb on telephone wires and jump from trees. Like, why would you run across the road?
Right.
You've seen vehicles. You've seen,
Yeah.
You're aware that these. I don't know.
I don't get it either. It's just a panic. They're like the ultimate example of what happens when you hesitate in life.
Yeah.
Of course, that one didn't really hesitate. Like, he was going straight for it.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't see him turn or stop or pause. It was just that the tire got him. I think it was he made it through the first tire.
Yeah. I I ran over a squirrel once on a bicycle.
On a bicycle? Jesus Christ. On purpose?
No, I was trying to avoid it. I was riding my bike. The squirrel didn't die. I almost died trying to avoid hitting the squirrel, but I hit it any damn way because the squirrel ran out. It was going to run in the road. It saw a car, and then it didn't go into the road and ran right back directly in front of my front tire. So I ran over the front tire of my bike, hit the brake. It goes limping off, and I just went end over, face over end over the handlebars. And goddamn squirrels, man.
Did you ever hit anything bigger, like a deer? Did you ever hit a deer or a small animal?
Nope. I've never hit an animal in my car.
I backed over a possum once at Amanda's house. That was the first animal I ever killed. I felt really bad about it.
Yeah.
And I've been in the front seat and the back seat when somebody hit a deer, not driving. And I hit a lady on a red Honda once. That's a long story.
I almost hit a deer once.
You know what I can say about that? Thank God for car insurance.
Yeah.
And liability insurance. And thank God she's okay. I should say that first. Thank God no, seriously, that was the most terrifying moment in my life ever, was that lady face down on the ground just making groaning noises, like incoherent. That's some scary shit. Didn't, not the Bob who's getting married, but I'll just say the other Bob, didn't he?
He finished the job on somebody. There was a drunk person on a bike that got hit by a car and got launched in front of Bob's car, and Bob ran him.
Bob ran him. What was it, like a mercy killing, or no? That's a joke. He's like, I better put this poor bastard out of his misery. Oh, it's horrible.
Yeah, he got hit and then flipped right in front of Bob's car. There was nothing he could do. And then I was supposed to be with him that night. They had just gone to the movies. I was supposed to go to the movies, and I overslept.
Jeez.
I was supposed to be in the car, but I'm glad I wasn't.
Yeah, I'm
And then
too.
I was very insensitive. I mean, that summer, I remember we were driving in Bob Middleton's car down the Jersey Shore somewhere, and we drove past. I was in the front passenger seat, and we drove by somebody on a bicycle, and right as we passed the guy on the bike was right next to the car. The window was down. I slammed my hand against the car door. Bob! Fuck, Jesus Christ, Pep.
That's so fucked up.
The first reaction was laughing, and then it was just like, oh, Pat, that was fucked up. I was like, yeah, kind of.
Uh-oh, I think we better pause this. I have a feeling I'm going to be asked to move the car. So let's just take this downstairs. Okay, so we can continue keeping track of time, I guess.
Yeah, I have an alarm set.
Oh, nice. Okay. I mean, what do they say? 2 hours before the flight, but I've been there sooner, and it's fine.
Yeah. Newark's not as busy as Orlando. The security line did look pretty fucking deep when I got there, though.
Yeah. Well, whenever you're ready, just let me know.
So, yeah, here's travel tips for anybody traveling to the New Jersey, Newark area. Don't take a taxi from the airport.
Why did you take a taxi?
That was probably my only option at the time. But it ended up costing half as much as the plane ticket.
Oh my goodness.
For a 45-minute taxi ride.
I mean, yeah, when you said Newark, I didn't really think about how you were going to get all the way down there because you said Shrewsbury, right?
Red Bank, yeah.
Red Bank, yeah. It was pretty far. Yeah, I would have taken the train. Or Uber.
I didn't even think the train is such a non-issue. We just built a train in Florida, so I'm not used to having that as an option for transportation.
Right,
Getting
right.
across my mind. So it was like, oh yeah, and this morning it was like, shit, there's a train station like 9 minutes from the fucking hotel.
Oh jeez, oh man.
It was a 9-minute walk.
Right.
So, and yeah, it cost $17.25 for me to get.
Oh my
to the airport.
god, and you paid $120. Oh well, you learn. That's how we learn. North Jersey. Oh,
It's free to get in, but they pay you fucking enormous amounts of money to get out of this fucking place.
yeah, seriously. I mean, this is New Jersey, which is a small state, and they still do not have a direct train service from North to South Jersey. You all right there? In order to get from north to south or from south to north, you gotta go to if you're in South Jersey, you gotta go to Hamilton.
All right.
And so anywhere south of Hamilton, it could be up to 45 minutes to get to that train station. Then you gotta go over to take that train over to Philly. I think, to Philly, and then I think a stop in Trenton, and then up to North Jersey and New York. And the same thing going south. There's no direct line still to this day. Think about all the hours and hours on the turnpike I could have saved if there was a train that went back and forth.
Right. Who knows? Goddamn New Jersey. Goddamn this place.
So
I miss the people, but I fucking hate New Jersey.
oh yeah, I feel that same way about
This whole
Vineland.
weekend has been a brutal reminder of why I left.
Yeah,
Oh, the people.
yeah. Try every day here. Try working in Jersey City every day. Not so bad.
Yeah.
But I do view it as temporary. You know, first it was getting out of Vineland, which took only 30 years.
You know, it's just baby steps.
Baby steps. But it's moving along at a nice pace now. So we move into this place, this new place, and then when Devon's old enough, we can split. Because her dad is a trucker.
All right.
So he can just get a job anywhere. And he doesn't want to stay here either. So
Word.
that's the plan.
There you go. Florida's hiring.
Florida. Oh no, but see the thing about Florida is they treat teachers horribly. They pay them horribly. They treat them horribly.
They do. That's true.
Your governor, oh my God, talk about. I mean,
Piece of
he's
shit.
bald too. I don't know why I was like comparing him to you. I guess
Voldemort.
the only way you could do that is like your opposites.
He's a soulless sucker of Satan's cock.
Who is that? Rick Scott, right?
Rick Scott.
Oh my God, but he's creepy looking. Like he's got those eyes that you can tell he's implanted with some sort of chip that's controlling him.
Yeah, he's been at the restaurant I work at a few times.
Seriously.
He likes to eat there.
Really? I smell an opportunity. That was a joke. That was humor.
Indeed.
Humor and
To
sarcasm.
yell at him, like that lady at the Starbucks. I don't know if you saw that video.
No, what happened?
He went to get coffee at the Starbucks, and this lady's like, "You're a piece of shit." You like she just went on a tirade, and somebody's just filming it. And he was just like, "Get my coffee." And
Right,
go."
right.
She's like, "You don't care about women. You don't care about people who live here." Just like you are suck. It's like she obviously did her research because she knew what she was talking about.
Hey, you know what? If she did her research, then people like that should be called out on their bullshit.
Yeah.
What is it with people in power? I mean, is there anybody that is in a position of power that doesn't suffer from some sort of cognitive dissonance?
I'm not sure what that means.
Cognitive dissonance. No, cognitive dissonance.
A long weekend.
No, it's okay. Cognitive dissonance is when it's like a split you do in your mind where you profess to believe something. Like I believe in, Jesus Christ and the Bible and blah blah blah. But then you go and you sniff coke off of hookers' tits.
All right.
But in your mind, you are able to separate the two and view them as mutually exclusive and not morally contradictory. That's called cognitive dissonance. And the further up you go in the power structure, the more cognitive dissonance you have to have, the more you have to profess to believe certain things, and the more you also have to distance yourself from them in order to stay in power. You can't have morals up in that far up in the power structure.
Right.
So, my thing is there anybody that holds a position of power that is not corrupted in some way? Like the very wanting to be in a position, like any politician, anybody that wants to be in power probably shouldn't be.
Right. Yeah, there's so many different levels of power. Like, I mean, whether it's a political, or, I mean...
Well, your boss at work.
Yeah, you know, like, giving... I mean, I guess even we in some way, we have power over people, too. You know?
Sure,
Like,
absolutely.
So where does it...
What's the John? Is it Green? What's his name? The 48 Laws of Power. What's that guy? Yeah, he wrote the 48 Laws of Power. I was thinking of a story that comes from Dune. I don't know if it's original or if he got it from somewhere, Frank Herbert. But the idea was that there was this one village where every year the ruler would walk out at night, like in the dark, with some sort of identifying color or light or something on. And he had to walk across like the town square. And if he made it across alive, then he was a good leader and he could be, and he could lead another year.
Right.
So it was like, that was your test of leadership, is if nobody wanted to kill you on that night when you were when you had to walk through the dark unarmed, when anybody could take a shot at you, if you can make it all the way through, then you can be leader for another year.
All right.
Imagine if, like, our politicians, our leaders were held to that kind of standard.
Oh, man. It would be insane. It would never happen. There's too many crazy motherfuckers out there. You could be a great leader, so would still want to kill you.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Completely agreed.
Just because you're in a position of power, or just because like you're the symbol, you know.
Mm-hmm. Which is why I default back to avoid power.
Yeah.
Or at least too much.
I avoid responsibility.
Avoid responsibility.
That way nobody feels compelled to put me in a position of power.
There you go. Exactly. Slipping under the radar, as it may be.
Indeed.
That's where the true work can be done anyway, right? On the ground level.
Mm-hmm.
Amongst the people.
Indeed.
So what else? Oh my god, I feel like I want you to get out your notebook of stand-up comedy and read some, but you don't have it here, do you?
I don't, but I could tell you a joke.
Let's hear it.
Guy walks into a bar and orders 5 shots of Jack Daniels. The bartender says, well, that's a pretty tall order. Are you celebrating? He goes, actually, as a matter of fact, I am. My first blowjob today. Bartender's like, awesome, let me buy you one on the house. Guy says, well, 5 doesn't get the taste out of my mouth. I don't think anything's going to help.
Zing.
Bazinga!
What do you call...
I hate that term.
How many lives does a dead German cat have?
9.
9! I told you that one. What did the apostrophe say to the comma?
I don't know.
You want to get high? Thank you. Want to get high? I'll be here all week. I have others, but they're all escaping me at the moment. My best material, honestly, comes in the classroom.
Yeah.
I mean, not just bad, horrible, punny jokes that should be remembered, but also serious God knowledge that I'm dropping in the moment.
Dropping God knowledge on these kids.
Like my best moments are not captured at all.
How many tickles does it take to make an octopus laugh? 10 tickles. Hey-o!
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah. I met this... It was this chick at the wedding. She's like, I know you. She's like, I know you from the vegetarian convention or something, but I'd never met her before.
Oh.
That was horrible. That was just bad.
Very nice. So this is my to test people. Usually I can explain it to little kids. Ready? So what did the farmer say when he lost his tractor?
shit.
So where's my tractor? Same difference.
Where's my tractor?
What do you call a duck that doesn't quack?
I don't know.
A duck. That's still a duck.
Still a duck.
Boom. I'm
Oh.
gonna put the drums in right there. I'm gonna do it.
Yeah, we need that, Phil. We need probably some canned laughter or something.
Yeah.
We'll make this like an episode of Seinfeld.
Fuck Seinfeld.
Open it up. Fuck Seinfeld? I like that show.
No. I don't mean fuck Seinfeld. I mean fuck. I remember Seinfeld.
Oh.
I still haven't seen all the episodes.
Me neither. That's why I like watching the reruns. It's like sometimes you see them, it's like, oh, sometimes it's brand new.
Exactly. Yep.
But it is.
So, geez, I don't know. What else? You got any questions for me? Any advice for the people listening?
Man, are people listening?
Well,
They will be.
at the moment, yeah. We assume that they will be at some point.
When people listen to this.
When people listen to this.
I can drop some knowledge on them. I don't know. I would say do what makes you happy.
What if, like, masturbating on a total stranger's face makes me happy?
I mean, then you could probably find some place where you could do that.
Well, you could do that, right? Yeah.
You know,
Exactly.
It's not anything you want. Because more than likely, Germany or Thailand, maybe. Make sure you smoke pot. It helps you out with lots of things.
Not agree with that.
Keep yourself balanced.
I think the general consensus of society is coming around to that conclusion as well, based on the irrefutable evidence.
Yes, we should legalize it.
Yeah.
And wear a rubber.
Wear a rubber.
Or don't. Whatever.
Well, and don't if you don't have to.
Yeah,
That's always the good default option.
indeed.
Raw dog.
Get your pull-out
baby.
game on point, people. Pull-out game is tight. No babies for Pepe. 0.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even kids that I'm against. It's more just the 0 to 3 years old.
That's right. And asses can't get pregnant. Oh, sorry.
What'd you say?
Asses can't get pregnant.
Asses can't get pregnant. Oh, that's true.
Her mouth can't get pregnant either. Always remember, you have options. Plenty of things to come on.
And in.
Indeed.
On, in, around.
In and or around. Oh my God! It's like, you seen This Is the End?
Yeah, that was. This Is the End was way better than I expected it to be.
Yeah, Danny McBride in that movie fucking killed it. Like, he's like, I've been coming and crying all my life. I've been coming and crying. Tears from the tip of my penis.
Because you could totally
When
tell
I
they
came
were.
in your magazine, that was a come for help. I fuck this dude all the time, man. We're gonna eat you, bro. We're cannibals. Oh man.
Yeah, that was a movie where you could tell they just sat around and made a bunch of shit up and then just made it happen.
Indeed. Does this cocaine smell funny? Oh yeah. Fun factoid about that film, which most people probably know already, but when Seth Rogen and James Franco are discussing the sequel for Pineapple Express and what happens at the end, it's actually what happens at the end of This Is the End. Where
Really?
he's like, yeah, like he's like Red goes crazy and like he wants us to kill Woody Harrelson, but then it's like I sacrifice myself for you, and Red eats me. It's like what? It's like I don't know. It's like and then like that's exactly what happens.
That's crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
In my opinion, the best movie, the best role that I've ever seen James Franco in. Of course, a few days ago I learned that he was allegedly basing his character off of somebody in real life, some rapper that I can't remember. It's a white rapper.
Yeah.
Spring Breakers.
Spring Breakers.
Spring Breakers.
Riff Raff.
Riff Raff. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
I haven't seen Spring Breakers. But
It's a movie that's on just another level of good and artistic, and I don't think there was a moment in that movie I wasn't ridiculously horny, like from the opening scene.
Really?
It was just crazy. But James Franco, he just nailed it. It was, you almost couldn't believe that it was him. Yeah, and like every role he has is like, oh, that's James Franco. No, not this.
Yeah, I liked him in 129 Days. Or 100. You ever saw that one?
No.
It was like based on a true story. Like this guy was rock climbing and he gets trapped, falls down and his arm got trapped in a rock and he was stuck there for like.
Oh yeah, I heard of that one. Yeah.
Yeah, James Franco played him. And that was wild. That movie was intense. Like,
jeez.
There's parts of that movie like when he's sawing his arm off. You just.
Oh God! See, yeah, I can't handle it. Like that kind of shit.
Yeah.
That kind of shit freaks me out. Sometimes I think that.
It was something about the soundtrack to the movie. Like they were doing like these things with like piano wires and like it was just there's this one part where you just like you feel it almost like the noise makes you feel it. It's like
yeah
like he had to like break his arm, cut through the tendons. Oh Jesus!
I think of like the Civil War when they used to have to saw off the legs and shit like that. Can you imagine what did you get, like a bottle of whiskey and a stick? Oh fuck me! No way.
I have to cut the leg off.
No way. I think no matter
shoot me, bro.
Any lifetime that I reincarnate in a soldier, I hope I'm like one of those that just runs.
Right.
Yeah. Oh God. But I do feel sometimes that, 'cause I don't know. I have this weird thing about torture. That I think maybe sometimes in a past life I was tortured, because when I see torture scenes in television or movies, like it disturbs me on this like some level where I'm like, ugh. I remember I had a dream once where I was looking at myself in those, I don't know what you call it, where you put your head and your hands in the
stocks.
The stocks, yeah, the holes. So I was looking at myself in the holes, and I was torturing myself. Like I looked at I was all bloody with the arms and the head.
Yeah.
I mean, that was pretty obvious symbolism. Like, stop being so hard on yourself, for Christ's sake. But,
right.
Yeah, torture. No, torture sucks.
Yeah, I wouldn't be down for that. I don't want to go to Guantanamo. I'll get waterboarded. It's not seem fun.
No. Or whatever they do too. They give them fucking Larium, which erases their memory.
Really?
That's a whole other side story. Yeah. Larium, it's called.
Larry's
Thulium. Oh man, that's the second reference to Bob in one podcast. It's crazy. So this is also the second podcast in a row where the neighbors have interrupted in the middle of the discussion. Because when Doug was here, I don't actually know if that was captured on the last podcast because, well, whatever. I just saying it makes me upset. But I ran out of memory on the card that's on this.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had just been recording things and not taking them off. So we got an hour and 8 minutes out of probably like an hour and a half, hour 40 that we actually talked.
Oh, really?
I was really bummed to lose the rest of it, but just keep going.
Keep on trucking.
Are you good on time? You need to be back? What's the situation?
How long do you think it'll take to get back to the airport?
Probably 20 minutes. 20 to 23 minutes.
All right.
It'll be quicker going back.
I was just checking my boarding pass. It says the plane starts boarding at 6:40.
Okay.
And it ends at 7.
All right.
So it's 5:15 now. I would say we should probably head out in a little bit because security did not look like it was.
Newark Airport is shitty. And I mean, I've heard that just listening to podcasts of people who travel around a hell of a lot more than I do, and Newark is one of the shittiest airports ever.
Yeah.
I'll take Atlantic City Airport over Newark. But now, that's the closest airport.
Yeah. I'm really excited to get back to Orlando.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure 3 days up in Jersey was more than enough to make you not come back up here for another few years.
Yeah, rekindle my hatred of this shithole. But, oh man, it was good to see the people.
Definitely.
that I like.
Well, it's definitely good to see you.
Yeah.
And it'll be my turn next to come down, and we'll do another one of these.
Yeah, we have a little bit more time.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, on short notice, this was it was good seeing you.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah.
Awesome. So anybody else that wants to know about Pepe Hopkins, and there is a lot to know about this gentleman, just check all the links in the comments and all that stuff. You want to leave us with any final anything?
Thoughts, man, be excellent to each other.
And
Namaste.
party on, dude.
Namaste. My soul bows to your soul.
Namaste, Pepe.
Hi there, folks. It's your host, Marcus Aurelius here. If you've made it this far, thanks so much for listening. It's our 5th episode, so I hope you'll indulge me for a minute as I humbly ask you to visit opusmarcuspodcast.com. You can listen to and comment on each episode in the archive section, listen to all the theme music in the About section, and send me an email in the Contact section. There's also an RSS link, so add it to your feed for immediate notification of all new episodes, and yes, there are more coming. So please, if you like what you've been hearing, the best way to support the Opus Marcus podcast is to share the Opus Marcus podcast with friends, family, co-workers you wish to alienate, and aliens who wish to co-create. But seriously, folks, please share and get the word out in your circles of like-minded souls. Now, maybe you're someone who likes to take it to the next level and you want to support the podcast by being an actual guest. Well, hell, fellas and ladies, you are welcome to submit your request to be a guest on this podcast. Share your story, promote your passion, educate the masses. Anything goes here if you can sustain a conversation. So that's opusmarcuspodcast.com. Okay, we're almost through this episode. Coming up, the elusive Noel Rogers will read his own piece about Pepe Hopkins. But first, we better catch up with legendary blues singer Old Nasty Rascal, since he doesn't sound so well, and he knows these are his last days, which is why he continues to let me record his last few rants. Here's the latest from Old Nasty Rascal.
Boy, don't talk to me about the woo. I was doing the woo before you knew who the woo was. The woo. I like to woo you with my pontifications. So I ain't talking about them old boys. Talking about this old boy, Old Nasty Rascal. This is just the ramblings of a cold, shivery old man sitting here in a bathtub full of slimy water. Just trying to tell you how it was, how we think it is, and how it someday may gonna be. So listen up. I ain't fooling with y'all ass. This is education time before I check out. Yeah. Oh, I love this weather here. I love it. This is beautiful weather. It's cold. It's gray. It's windy and rainy. Perfect weather for singing the blues. Yeah. I got them stormy emotions. I got them partly cloudy feelings. Yeah, I know Hurricane Sandy was pretty nasty. She did a lot of damage, but not as much damage as Hurricane Sandy Vagina once did to me. It's for real, yo. I had my fingers down there, and it felt like grains of sand drifting through the hourglass. So I decided to put my tongue down there, and it was like I was a cat licking everything with my sandy paper tongue. Yeah. Well, the tide came in on that bitch. I moved on to sturdier ground, if you know what I mean. I found myself a nice dark, rocky vagina cave. Crawled myself up inside that cave, and I built a fire under that bitch's ass. Oh, my language, I'm sorry. Gotta watch my language in front of the youngins. And by youngins, I mean anybody that is less than 96 years old, which is how old I'm gonna be in a couple days. 96 years old. It didn't take that many years for my ex-wife to start sleeping in the 96th position instead of the 69th position. Oh, all right, I made that one up. I just made that one up off the top of my head. I admit it. But Sandy Vagina was for real, though. Sandy Vagina was some real nasty, dry vagina shit.
Okay, thanks, old Nasty. Well, moving on. As promised, here is an original piece read by Mr. Noel Rogers from his upcoming book, Panopticon, which he's been working on for the last few years and promises to finish before he dies. It's a story about Pepe Hopkins that Noel likes to call
The Ballad of Hoppy Pepkins. Hoppy Pepkins was bald and lanky, and he looked a lot like the love child of a scarecrow and a Nosferatu. Actually, he was the only child of Jedediah and Clara Pepkins, simple and hard-working blue-collar folk from Iowa, and as far from Scarecrow and Nosferatu as simple and hard-working blue-collar folk from Iowa can get. He hadn't always been bald, and he hadn't always been lanky. Once, he was a little boy who had dreams and felt sad and alone, because from an early age, Hoppy felt that he was different, that he was special, that he was somehow marked as separate from regular folk. When the dog-headed post-humans from Sirius B showed up at his front door on his 12th birthday, he learned that this feeling was justified. The B-Syrians fashioned external Merkaba from their inner emotional states and whisked him away to a place that was not exactly another planet per se, and not exactly the Earth of a million years hence. It was the land of platonic forms, the launching point from which universal archetypes could walk in and co-create the human realm. Hoppy thought it was neato. Then, the Elvis-headed marsupial men of Dimension 12 staged a raid on this prime Earth, and in the process, kidnapped young Hoppy Pepkins. They put him to work as a slave scribe in their data mines. Hoppy didn't think this was neato. Not at all. Here, he toiled for strange aeons, transcribing notes pilfered from the Akashic records. Painstakingly, like medieval monks illuminating moldering manuscripts. By the time he escaped, by disguising himself as a smoked salmon and smuggling himself out in a giant bagel, Hoppy had lost all the hair on his body and head, victim of the little understood depilatory effect of Dimension 12. He made his way into a parallel Earth of the 1950s, where he joined Jack Kerouac and Allen Ginsberg as the most feared trio of bank robbers that world had ever known. The rootingest, tootingest, shootingest banditos this side of the Rio Bravo. Cleverly staged train heists seamlessly gave way to securities fraud. By the time he was 60, Hoppy was the most respected of the modern-day robber barons. A ruthless old man who would do anything to keep his profits up, to keep his lifestyle of vodka and Viagra, with a finger in every pie from international arms deals to small-town high school football. So, imagine his surprise when he woke up back in Dimension 12. Once again, the young slave scribe of the Elvis-headed kangaroo men. Hoppy hadn't successfully escaped after all. It had all been a dream. Or, as it was explained to him by a kindly Abbe Faria-type character, he'd experienced the life of a living thought form. A tulpa. Whatever that meant. And so he bided his time again, became model prisoner, slave scribe of the month, 3 times. Then, with his captors lulled into a false sense of security, he made his move. He escaped again, for reals this time, by dressing up as a coupon for cat food and hiding in a little old lady's purse. He found himself in a strange realm of illuminated blackness. At the end of what seemed an infinite expanse of space, there was a single rectangle of light, a porthole into another reality. Hoppy spent centuries swimming toward it. When he got there, he looked in and saw, on the other side, to his surprise, another Hoppy Pepkins peering through back at him. At first, he thought it to be a mirror, but the other Hoppy was moving independently of him. Was this a trick? Was he going to wake up back in Dimension 12 and find out he'd been fooled by a tulpa again? Was he still a boy in Iowa, dreaming? The end.
Folks, you can purchase Noel's book, If You Don't Give Me Heaven, at Amazon. And also at Amazon is Heroes and Hierophants, the book that Noel and I co-wrote with Douglas Palermo. Doug, you may remember, was my guest on episode 2, and we're going to finish up this episode with his meditation on Pepe Hopkins. It's written in the second-person narrative, so really it's about you. It's called You Are Pepe Hopkins. You are born. The nurses wonder how you pierced your umbilical cord in the womb. The doctor slaps your ass. You slap the nurses' asses. You are Pepe Hopkins. You go to elementary school. The girls say, ew, when you show them the tattoo of your dick on your butt. The teacher gives you detention. You finger bang the secretary in the principal's office. You are Pepe Hopkins. You go to middle school. The girls go, ooh, when you show them the tattoo of your butt on your dick. The teacher sends you to the school psychologist. You talk about your dreams of Alyssa Milano fucking a midget. You are Pepe Hopkins. You go to high school. The teachers fight over who gets to take you out Friday night. The girls' softball coach gives you brain in the dugout. You show Marcus Aurelius the brain during graduation. You are Pepe Hopkins. You go to college. The English professor says you're a cunning linguist. The dean won't let you major in magic. You impregnate half of the pro-life club. You are Pepe Hopkins. You get a job. The boss gives you the corner office. The CEO invites you to play frisbee golf. You get filleted by your secretary on a corporate jet. You are Pepe Hopkins. You get married. The bride-to-be says, I do. The bridesmaid says, I do too. You are sandwiched between 2 sisters on your wedding night. You are Pepe Hopkins. You have kids. The firstborn teaches you how to fly. The youngest child speaks to you telepathically. You fight crime with your family for decades to come. You are Pepe Hopkins. You grow old. The nursing home kicks you out for sexually harassing a nun. The VA won't admit you because you fought on the wrong side of the Cold War. You live in your son's basement, get high, and watch old movies. You are Pepe Hopkins. You die. The angels applaud loudly as they give you a standing ovation. The demons sit quietly as they watch you with a respectful awe. You spend your days chilling in heaven and your nights partying in hell. You were Pepe Hopkins. What's your advice for people in life?
My advice is to stay strong, be helpful, be smart, be brave, be powerful, be kind, and be loving to everyone, even your pets. Let's say something bad happened to you. Move on. It already happened. Just move on to the better things in life. What a heck of time!